Now, netizens are up in arms, angry, disappointed, as a K-pop idol has become an adult streamer. Now, back in January, the internet went abuzz when fans started to notice that DIA Somyi was streaming on Panda TV. Now, it's not uncommon for idols to actually stream on sites like Africa TV. So, what makes Somyi streaming on Panda TV very controversial? Now, the biggest difference is that unlike Africa TV, Panda TV has a 19 plus side to it. To be honest with you, I don't know exactly what the 19 plus is, because 19 plus in Korea is far different than what we consider 19 plus here in the United States. 19 plus there, it could be more like up close sexy dances, cleavage shots, suggestive types of poses that would give you a 19 plus rating. But as the news trickled down, one of the things that I started reading was just the disappointment from her fans, disappointment from the public, disappointment from the fans of DIA, and there was other antis or other netizens that just wanted to chime in and basically put their 2 cents into the they just basically put their 2 cents into the argument. And this one and this one is not as different as any of those, so here's my 2 cents. Now, I know that as far as Somyi was, or DIA, they do have a lot of female fans, and normally when you have a lot of female fans, they're normally in the high school, junior high school, and maybe the elementary age, right? So I understand why some of their fans, some of the netizens just were voicing out such disappointment, right? Such disappointment. But everything is not exactly black and white, because we're still dealing with the K-pop world. And whenever we deal with the K-pop world, especially when we're dealing with female idols, there's a very, very deep dark side that could be involved, and in this case, I believe that there was. So before we go about judging Somyi for her actions, and quite honestly, you can't really judge the actions of somebody that's 21 years old, right? You can't, they're really free to do whatever they want to do. They're grown people, they're adults, and I understand the disappointment. If you are in elementary school or maybe in high school, you might not necessarily have that understanding yet of sometimes you just gotta do what you gotta do. But before we go, let's get a little background. Like, who exactly is Somyi? Somyi joined DIA in 2017. Now, the group actually debuted as early as 2015 with different subunits and different add-ons and members coming and going between that. Now, as a group formed by MBK Entertainment, they debuted in 2015, and it was also 2015 was around the same time that Produce 101 actually started. So Cheon and I think another one or two of the members of DIA actually left DIA and joined Produce 101, which eventually I think Cheon placed 4th, so she debuted with IOI, and therefore she was actually promoting with both IOI and DIA. Her popularity just skyrocketed. Cheon was everywhere. It was to the point where DIA was really considered to be Cheon and friends to most netizens.
정치원과 아이돌로 많이 알고 있더라고요. 기사나 이런 것도 다 채연.
Now, between 2015 and 2017, they had numerous member changes, and as anything in K-pop, as soon as you start switching members, as soon as people start going, there's something happening. There's some either mismanagement or there's basically some dark side happening right there. And even with between that time when Cheon was actually promoting with IOI and DIA, you could tell that she was just overly promoting, and it looks as though in some clips she just was not herself. It seemed like she was just 100% exhausted, right? And well, Somyi joined in 2017, and she was part of a couple comebacks, and then all of a sudden in 2019, boom, she just disappeared. after a lengthy hiatus, Somyi popped up on IG Live. She popped up on IG Live and started talking to her fans. And what it seemed as though it was actually done in secret. She was just kind of like hiding by the pillow. You know, when you're trying not to get your mom to catch you and you're like on the pillow, you're like, and basically on the IG Live, she just said that she wasn't pretty enough and she was banned from social media and that she would come back when she was prettier. So that gets me thinking, like, how bad was the treatment at MBK? Right? How bad was the treatment at MBK? And so let's do a deep dive. Let's do a deep dive on how I feel how this is. All right? So you take somebody like Somyi. She joined DIA when she was 17. So normally if you're 17, I would say the average Yongsubseng, your average trainee time would probably be like around 8 years to 10 years. This is how the Korean K-pop industry works. It's like 10 years. So at 17, let's say it's 8. So what? Basically, she started as a trainee with MBK at 8, maybe 9, maybe even at 10 years old. At 10 years old, at 10 years old, you are susceptible to a lot of trauma. You are susceptible to a lot of influence and a lot of bad influence, especially in the entertainment industry, not just in Korea, anywhere. That's why we have so many like child actors and that just fall off the face of the earth and ultimately end up either homeless or on drugs or whatever. It's just when you join that industry at that age and you're forced to do certain things, it does irreparable damage to you. Well, I won't say irreparable. I'm just saying it does a lot of damage to your psyche and to your mental state. Now, there was a clip I saw of Twice's Jiho, and she's spending time with Kim Sejong at Kim Sejong's mom's house, and she was saying how she missed out on a lot of like just hanging out with friends, like going out and playing, because she joined JYP at 10 years old. You know, she joined, or at 8 years old, or however, but she was like super young, and all she did was train. And then you take these influential kids, these influential children, you take their phones away, right? You prevent them from going anywhere without a chaperone, without a manager, whatever, and you're closing them off to the world. You're closing them off to what we need most as human beings, is being able to actually communicate and interact with each other. And of course, the longer they're a trainee, the more money they're gonna owe. I'm not gonna repeat it. I'm not gonna preach to the choir, because whoever's watching this video right now, you guys fully understand how these trainees work and how the amount of money for the trainee, for the training, the language classes, the speech classes, the dance classes, the rapping classes, the breakdancing classes, the album creation, the marketing, all comes out of the artist's money, and it's basically a negative at the very start of their career. The company will normally take like a 60-40 cut, 40%, or maybe let's say a 40-60 cut, and 60% goes to the idol. Well, as you know, DIA at one point had 9 members, so whatever money that they had to split it up evenly between 9 members. So sometimes it's just not enough. You can't eat, you can't do anything, you have no money. There's been stories of idols that had to go pay for their own airfare. There's been stories about idols that had to get their mom to pay for repairing their toilet in their dorms. Their dorms were so shabby that they were basically living in a closet. So if you really think about it, a lot of these idols are mistreated by their companies. Now let me just say, I have no proof or anything that MBK has done anything, but again, when we're talking about judging these idols, we can't look at it so black and white. We have to understand that there could be an ongoing problem because there is a precedence there. There's a history of young girls being trotted out as sex objects as young as 14, right? So here's what I say to you guys. Here's what I say to you, the netizen. I understand your disappointment. I understand your disappointment when you see your idol and they're doing these type of shows. But also understand that you had no problem with them being showcased, being used as puppets by grown men that own their companies, their managers, whoever else, to appease to 40-year-olds, to 40-year-old men, because demographic shows that about 30 to 40% of those men, those fans that love these girl groups are men in their late 30s and early to mid 40s, right? You know, Hyuna with Wonder Girls, I think she debuted at 14 with the shortest skirt possible. You guys were fine with that, right? You guys were fine with how a lot of these idols are put in situations where their body is now being used as a promotional tool by the company with little to no reward that goes back to the artist, little to no regard that goes back to this idol that you idolize. So sometimes when you say, I'm disappointed in you because you should be doing something else instead of this thing that you yourself has called immoral, just think about what you supported before. You supported a 14-year-old, a 15-year-old, a 16-year-old put in promiscuous and compromising positions. You were okay with that. But you know, you could. I applaud Somyi. I applaud her for going, you know what? I'm gonna take my career into my own hands. It might not be something that you want, but you might not agree with it, but you just have to find a way to understand. You don't agree with it, but you have to find a way to understand where she's coming from. She could have been working her ass off from 4 a.m. to 4 a.m. every day as an idol, doing schedule after schedule after schedule, and gotten breadcrumbs. Because there was 9 members to share the money with, and there was a company that took most of that money. You get tired of it. So I don't know what goes on in at Panda TV and why it's 19 plus, but I don't need to know. I don't need to know. You don't need to know. Leave the girl well enough alone. Right? Eventually, you have to find a way to harness your talents and take charge of your life and your career. If you continuously have it where somebody else controls it, then you will continue to be on the losing end of life. So it's just that. Like, we have to just understand, you know, these girls are being used by the companies. We're perfectly fine with it. We're perfectly fine with the fact that these companies know who they're appealing to, what demographic they're appealing to, right? They you know, that's the whole reason for the schoolgirl outfit. You think the schoolgirl outfit is for schoolgirls? The schoolgirl outfits with their short skirts are not for the females. That's basically selling them as objects for the male gaze, for males to look at. That's why there's a sense of pureness when it comes to K-pop idols. That's why they have to be almost pure. They can't date. They're almost like your baby, right? We fall into that. You know, we are okay with that. Now, when it comes to idols and they want to stream and they want to do the same type of entertainment really that other people were making money off of their bodies, now it's under their control, we get mad at them. It's not fair. It just is not fair. I just, I honestly feel as though we can't hold them. I can't say that I fault them. I can't say that I fault them. I understand that Korea in itself is super conservative. So I understand how these things are looked upon at a different light. But realistically, if we sit there, again, let me reiterate. I do not know what she does on these 19 plus sites. A lot of the pictures, a lot of the GIFs, a lot of the videos I've seen, I just seen her dancing. I just seen her dancing with her boobas jiggling, right? But I come from America. That's like normal here when I go watch Twitch, right? It's like everywhere. The boobas, or you earn more money. But at the end of the day, there's no way that I can fault them. I know that Korea is super conservative, but really think about it. Take a step back, take a breather. What's the difference between Somyi or any of these female idols, these sometimes underage idols in very short skirts, dancing for you on Music Bank? There is no difference. There really is no difference. It's either somebody else is making money off their body, or they might as well make money off their body themselves. Realistically, I've seen some of these GIFs. I've seen some of these pictures of what Somyi was doing and little dances that she does. That's no different than what I've seen on Music Bank, on Inkigayo, at Mama, at whatever award show, the Asian Music Awards. Look, we're not here to judge. We just have to understand. And if you love her that much, if you love this idol that much, you will support her. You will support her and applaud her from getting out from the grips of these maniac companies. You applaud her for getting away from the abuse, both mentally and sometimes even physically, that these so-called companies have inflicted on them. So, yeah, that's about it. That's all I gotta say. That's really all I gotta say about it. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know what you guys think about it. We could argue, and again, this is an open platform. You guys can comment. I'll reply back. Hey, and guess what? I'm also free to change my mind. If you have a convincing argument to tell me why or what the difference is, I can change my mind. That's the beauty of life. We could change our minds. But anyway, as I said, comment down below. If you got this far, thank you. Smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel, that's if you want to. And I'll see you guys next time. I should do a podcast. I should, huh? Anyway, goodbye y'all. Mag-ingat kayo. Goodbye.